Okay, what is up? So I've got the Los Angeles Rams depth chart up here. So I'll just kind of go through it, I kind of predict who's going to be starting each position. Just look at the roster and just see how strong they are going into next year. So the Rams, first position, receiver, top two receivers, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Robert Woods isn't really a slot receiver. He probably won't play there. He could play there. They're very rotational, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. They primarily both play on the outside, but they do go in the slot quite a lot. They don't really use three. They didn't even use three receivers that much that often. But definitely Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, the top two receivers. They're very good. So that's all right there. And they also got Van Jefferson. I do like Van Jefferson. He has some good plays last year. Just limited sample size. I hope he kind of gets more plays with Josh Reynolds out. I hope he is that third receiver because I think he can be good. And you got Deshaun Jackson, who's just kind of really unreliable now. He's good for like one game a year, pretty much. He just gets injured too much. Maybe he stays healthy in Los Angeles. Maybe it was just Philadelphia. Oh, but I doubt it. He'll probably get injured at some point. So you do need more receivers. So I think possibly Deshaun Jackson as that third receiver. He will be a really good deep threat. But I'd like Van Jefferson to start on that offense. Probably in the slot, but can play the outside also. Just a really good route runner, so I like him. The other receivers, Tutu Atwell, they drafted. Didn't really like the draft pick at the time. Kind of just a similar player to Deshaun Jackson. Really undersized, fragile player. If he gets hit by like a massive player, I don't know how good it is. But he was really good in college. Really good route runner. I didn't really like it in the second round though for the pick, but like for the roster, he'll probably be their fifth receiver to be honest. We'll probably go into that fourth role, that Deshaun Jackson role, especially when Deshaun Jackson's gone or if he gets injured, which probably happen. So I do like to Atwell for the future, but when you're trying to win now, pretty much, and you're kind of like under the cap, like your cap situation isn't amazing. It's not the best. And then Ben Skronik, they also drafted, probably going to change to tight end. Didn't really like the pick. He's kind of just a bad receiver, pretty much. Just can't get separation. Doesn't know how to run routes. Nothing really special to his game. Kind of just a big receiver. Probably change to tight end, which he could be better at as a tight end. He definitely has the size. So I assume he'd do that. And then the O-line, Andrew Whitworth, left tackle. Yeah, he's still really good, but he is like 40 years old, so don't know how much longer he has. Probably his last year or second to last year. They did draft Alaric Jackson, who was very good before this season last year, where he just his draft stock just plummeted. So they picked him up undrafted. I think he's a good player to pick up undrafted. Like, he was probably the best undrafted offensive tackle you could have picked up. So I did like that for them. Good backup, I think, if, like, stuff happens. And maybe he can replace Andrew Whitworth. You never know. Joseph Noteboom also not really an amazing player, but backup pretty much. Not really going to be a starter. Could start at guard, actually. That's the thing. I don't know who David Edwards is. He probably might actually start. I swear he did start there last year. I don't know why they have him at tackle. I guess he is versatile, but I think he could probably start left guard. And then center, just not good, to be honest. Brian Allen. Oof. Their interior offensive line is just looking a bit bad, to be honest. Austin Corbett, he's okay. Nothing special. He's not particularly good any way. Their O-line could be one of the worst in the league, and that is very not very good for your offense pretty much, and that could be a really big detriment to your team, especially with the boy Matthew Stafford coming in. Like, Matthew Stafford, just not really. What was it? Matthew Stafford, yeah, they bring him in. I like that, bringing in Matt Stafford. They did give away like 2 first-round picks, but I do like Matthew Stafford. I think he is a good player. I think he can be a better player. He will be a better player than Jared Goff, especially in Sean McVay's scheme. Just make it kind of quarterback friendly. And I think he can take their team to the next level. It just kind of depends. But he is behind a really bad offensive line. The only really strong point is their tackles. They didn't even talk about Rob Havison. Yeah, Rob Havison's find at right tackle. He's pretty decent. That's kind of probably their best player besides Andrew Whitworth on the offensive line. But Matthew Stafford, yeah, I like Matthew Stafford. If the O-line isn't atrocious, then he could be very productive. John Wolford also backing him up. Good backup. And then tight end, Tyler Higbee, yeah, he's a really good tight end. I think he could be pretty productive next year, being that number one tight end. So I do like that. Johnny Munt, he's not going to be their second tight end. Bryson Hopkins could definitely be. I think he will. He was their third tight end last year. Just didn't really get a lot of snaps of being a third tight end. Just didn't really get a chance. But I think second tight end, that could be a very good opportunity for him. And I think Jacob Harris could be their third tight end. I mean, I feel like Jacob Harris is more of a receiver than Ben Skronik is, and Ben Skronik is like more of a tight end than Jacob Harris is. So I think maybe these dudes switch around. One of these dudes is definitely going to change the tight end, especially with like the depth they've already got at receiver, and they've already got some players, like a lot of depth there in tight end. They've only really got Bryson Hopkins and Tyler Higbee. So one of these dudes probably going to have to play tight end. You're just going to have to see who it is. Could definitely be Jacob Harris. I like Jacob Harris from UCF. Just very raw prospect, but very good athlete, good player, very big also, so could play tight end. Just one of these dudes is going to play tight end. If I would, I'd probably keep Jacob Harris at tight end, at receiver. I'd probably put Jacob Harris at receiver and Ben Skronik to tight end. And then running back, Cam Akers, yeah, he's very good. I think he can take a jump up next year. It's good when he was playing. And then Daryl Hunt is also reliable backup. He played a lot of snaps last year. I mean, the third round back probably going to be Jake Funk, replacing that like Cam Akers. I mean, Cam Akers. I mean, he's probably going to be like the Daryl Henderson last year. That third running back, he's probably get a lot of snaps. They used 3 running backs quite a lot last year. So yeah, and then defense. Ashawn Robinson, he's pretty decent on the defensive line. This thing just has to reload because it's dumb. Yeah, Ashawn Robinson. I mean, I think Ernest Brown could beat out Ashawn Ernest Brown's a pretty good player. I like that pick for them, but Ashawn Brown probably going to start there. He's kind of more of a defensive tackle. He's a bit bigger. Same with Ernest Brown. Yeah, defensive tackle more than end, so I do like it. Their nose tackle, Sebastian Joseph Day, he's pretty decent actually. Same with Greg Gaines. Greg Gaines is more of a defensive tackle. But I mean, Bobby Brown's going to be their nose tackle. Him and Sebastian Joseph Day probably more of a defensive tackle than, yeah, nose tackle. Bobby Brown's definitely a nose tackle. Bobby Brown's a very good player. I like Bobby Brown. He's probably like the third best nose tackle in the draft. I mean, probably like a Lee McNeil, Tyler Shelvin, Bobby Brown. So I like Bobby Brown being that nose tackle, another massive dude in the middle of your defense. Him and Aaron Donald, that's going to be a very good pairing. Like, trust me, their defensive line is going to be pretty good. So I'd like that. And then Greg Gaines, good rotational player. And I think Sebastian Joseph Day, another good rotational player. Not going to be their starting nose tackle. I would bet that Bobby Brown would be that. And then, of course, Aaron Donald, one of the best players in the league, arguably the best, double team most of the time. And I think it will help Bobby Brown in there. He'll eat up a ton of blocks in the run game, which will open up Aaron Donald. In the pass game, I mean, Aaron Donald, he always gets double teams. That'll leave players like Bobby Brown and like Ernest Brown, Ashawn Robinson, those guys to get open, so I do like that. And then the linebacker position, Leonard Floyd, yeah, he's going to be rushing the edge also most of the time, but also drops back in coverage quite a lot. He was very good last year. I didn't really like the contract they gave him. They gave him a ton of money. I did not think that was worth it, but I mean, good. He was good last year, but I feel like it just kind of depends on Aaron Donald just getting double teamed all the time. Ogbenuda Okorogerengu, he's pretty decent backup linebacker. Not really a starter, but might have to if their linebacker position is still looking pretty thin, to be honest. Like Micah Kaiser, he's not really a starter, but will probably have to play significant points next year. Ernest Jones, actually, who they drafted, I think he has a good chance to start straight away. Might be a bit rough, but I mean, the linebacker position is just not very good, and Ernest Jones was actually a pretty decent player in college, and they drafted him like the 3rd or 4th round, so I do like Ernest Jones. I think he could definitely start there. Troy Reader, he's alright. I mean, Kenny Young's probably their second best linebacker. He's like a box safety pretty much though, but he kind of primarily played linebacker, and I do like him there. So I think Kenny Young and Urias Jones could be their starters, but probably not because just probably gonna be Micah Kaiser or Troy Reader. And then corner Darius Williams, yeah, he was very good last year. Kind of came out of nowhere. He's like already like 27 or 28 and very undersized. But he was fine last year. Like bigger receiver. Yeah, I mean Terrell Burgess probably be that third safety. I do like him in that role. Probably also get quite a lot of playing time. I don't think any of their safeties can really play corner. Jordan Fuller probably more of that, but I think just stick him at safety. Definitely losing John Johnson and I was about to say Troy Hill were very big losses. Like they were very good in their secondary, so I think their secondary might take a step back, but they do have some young players besides from like Jalen Ramsey, and they also got Paris Ford. Actually, was pretty interesting. Like he was good at Pittsburgh, but just awful pro day. Just nothing was good for him. So I don't really know if he even makes the roster, to be honest. But I'd take a shot on Paris Ford because he was good in college. So maybe you do find something there. And their safety group isn't. They don't really got a lot of players anyway, like Juju Hughes, Nick Scott, Jake Gervais, Jovan Grant, Warner. I think any of those dudes are going to be your safeties? No. So maybe Paris Ford beats out one of these dudes. Probably make the practice squad, but he could definitely make the roster. I don't even know if he'll be a good special teamer. That's the thing. So that's kind of it. I mean, special teams, Johnny Hecker, yeah. They brought on Corey Bajorquez. I was kind of surprised when he got cut, Corey Bajorquez. He was a pretty good punter. So that was surprising. I mean, I thought he would get a starting chance at least. And then kicker, Matt Gay was actually decent last year. And yeah, Webster, punt returner, kick returner, he was pretty decent at that. But Deshaun Jackson, if he's healthy, probably be punt returner, to be honest. Maybe Tutu Atwell could be that. I think Tutu Atwell could definitely take over that position. The log snapper, nobody knows these dudes, but they got two of them, so little camp battle or something. So we'll see. I mean, the roster overall pretty decent. Some holes, but yeah, overall they got some good players. I think they'll be contenders next year, and that's it.